So, howdy today. It's Goddess KRING in her face paint. And I finished a music video today with RJ Media Seattle for Cactus Hugging Vulnerable Viking. And I'm excited. In about a week, I will be publishing that on my YouTube channel. And we continue to try to get Goddess KRING music played on KEXP radio. And at the same time, I'm trying to let go of expecting or needing external results. As an artist, it's important that I make a living as an art model and a medical model. And I have a full-time freelance job that supports me, and I have a frugal way of surviving. And so I don't depend on my art for earning any money. But it occurred to me that sometimes people, when they hear that you don't make money with your art, they assume your art isn't good. And I need to not worry about people having that judgment. It didn't occur to me till recently. The truth is, I don't even really try to sell my art. Maybe I could actually sell my photos, my music. I don't know. Well, actually, I think musicians only really make a living these days if they perform live. And the music that I do with Dave Flowers, we're mostly in the recording studio creating it. We're not really a traditional live band, even though we can recreate our music live to some extent. Um, I like total freedom. So the reason why I do my art for free is because because I like freedom, and I don't like being told, "Oh, you have to make music or poetry or you're like my art car." If anybody told me how to do my art car, it wouldn't be any fun. So the whole point is that I'm an improvisational creative person. I have rhinestones that I glued all over my car and I made up the design. I painted my face. You can't really see that well in this light, but my face is lots of different colors, and I make up this design. And I found this necklace actually at a thrift store, and then I glued on these fake opals. And in the park, I actually found art supplies that somebody threw. Like, there was a suitcase with art supplies spilled out on the grass that somebody had abandoned. And so I cleaned up the litter out of the park where we were shooting the music video today. And I found resin because where I used to get these fake opals, the store went out of business and I can't find these fake opals anymore. That was the only store that had it. It was Joann's Fabrics, and they're no longer in business. And I can't find these opals anywhere else, fake opals, even online. I've looked everywhere. I can't find, they're made in China apparently, but I can't find them anywhere. I've been thinking about learning how to make resin. There's molds, and you pour clear resin, and then you have like flecks, like abalone, like mylar that's like opalescent looking, and you can pour it into a mold and make your own fake opals. Like, it looks sort of like abalone shells, or you can't really tell in this light, but these are like really opaly. Opals and moonstones are my favorite stones, and abalone shells, and sort of an iridescent opalescent. So this is the necklace that I created. And today in the park, synchronistically, I found art supplies for resin and little flecks of opaly things that you could put in the resin, and the little samples that somebody had made. So that was interesting. It looked like it had been abandoned there for a while. It was kind of mucky. So I cleaned up the mess and I took it home with me, and I'm going to just throw away the icky part and keep the art supplies that are still intact. Hopefully, whoever left that there doesn't need it, because it looked like it had been there a while. It was just strewn about like a total mess. And so I took it, cleaned up the litter. And so now I have some art supplies. That was an interesting synchronicity. And we did a cool video where the video guy, he has a RJ Media Seattle, he has a gimbal, a really nice camera with a gimbal, so he can walk around without a tripod and get really cool angles, and it's very smooth, like Hollywood movie style smooth, like you're floating, like the camera's just floating in the air. And then he has a drone camera where he can fly above things and, do all the cool things that drones can do, 360 degrees. And so I had like a sparkly dress I swirled around. I had my green, can't see in the camera, my green fishnet stockings, can't really see in the camera. I did another video with that, but fishnet green stockings, and I have shoes, platform heels that I glued rhinestones onto that I'm wearing, and I'm wearing my Shannon Kringen I've got the face paint on in the video, and I've got my Shannon Kringen designs, like the outfit I'm wearing in front of my car. This is like my artwork printed on my clothing. And so the video that we're doing a clone video for the first time ever. I've done clone photos where you put the camera on the tripod and then you have 5 or 6 of you in the same frame and then you drag them in with Photoshop. Now you can do that even easier probably with different software programs. But with video, you videotape yourself like Sheryl Crow did a cover of the Tom Petty song, You Don't Know How It Feels. And by the way, I found my Tom Petty button that I couldn't find. I found a second one that I had buried in my closet. And so I have it with my Tom Petty Barbie doll that I created. He's like my talisman or my shaman or my service musician, whatever you want to call it. He symbolizes, Tom Petty widens my jetty. He symbolizes be authentic, follow your dreams, follow your heart, follow your soul. I've been listening to a lot of Jungian videos and Buddhist videos about the philosophy of doing what you love and follow your bliss would be the Joseph Campbell way of saying it. If you're really doing what you love, doors will open for you. And even if you don't get a whole bunch of external success, it could just be that you find fake opals in the park and that you meet somebody who's doing videos. Like I met the videographer person. We were both looking for a similar project and we found each other. And that was a happy accident, kind of synchronicity. The musician Dave Flowers and I, we met because of the serendipity of synesthesia, and we both love cats, and he loves Prince as much as I love Tom Petty. And then there's that video of My Guitar Gently Weeps with Prince and Tom Petty playing, and it's just a total synchronicity. And the button that I found that I thought I lost, or I lost one, I had 2 Tom Petty buttons that looked like this, little tiny 2-inch square buttons. I found one of them in my closet, sort of buried. The other one, I don't know what happened to it. It's probably, oh, here, camera. Okay, it's probably in the forest somewhere. I don't know, but who knows? But what I was going to say was, I'm excited and really happy that um, we did a clone video and I had 2 different outfits. And so the camera was on the tripod and I'm like in this side of the frame interacting with the other side of me. And then on this side of the frame, I'm interacting. And so I had to kind of fake it and pretend like I was looking at my other self. And so hopefully the video, when it's edited together, you'll see 2 versions of me. There's the sort of more masculine Viking version of me and the more feminine version Viking of me. And we're interacting with each other. And then I have my guitar, my acoustic guitars in the shot. And I have my shield in the shot, some artwork of mine that I hold up, and then the drone is flying over me and I'm dancing, and then I walk by the river and I look over the guardrail and I loosen the lug nuts. If you listen to my song Cactus Hugging Vulnerable Viking, and a lot of the lyrics in there ties in with the video that we filmed, and literally as an autistic person, I tend to take things literally, but sometimes people mean things literally and I think it's a metaphor, and other times people mean it as a metaphor and I take it literally. So you can do it, literal or metaphor. I think that the world is multifaceted, and I look at things like a Jungian psychology type of a way, which is that everything has a shadow. Everything is we project our shadow onto people. We project onto rock stars. We project, you can project positive or negative traits onto a musician on stage. People have projected positive and negative things onto Goddess KRING, me, Goddess KRING, the performer, Shannon Kringen, etc. So I think of it this way. And I think that if you do what you love, like I support myself in certain practical ways where I know when I model, I'm guaranteed an hourly wage, just like a regular job. So I like the stability of having a regular, I have a random schedule, like it's freelance, working with medical students and art students. It's totally random hours, but I work at like 20 different places, literally. And it's like a regular job in that way. And I'm guaranteed a certain amount of money per hour. And then I pay taxes and all of that. So it's like a regular job in that way. I'm considered an independent contractor, I think. And then I have the freedom to do my art, and I don't allow, and I also self-publish my poetry books and my art books, and I made my art car. And so it's like, I'm not sure how to take all of the multimedia art that I do and turn it into a business that earns money, but I don't. And so some would say, oh, well, you're a failure. You're not a real artist if you're not making money with your art. And I wonder sometimes, gee, should I try to figure out how to make a living with my art? But I'm not sure how to do that. And I was going to say, I like the freedom of being multimedia. And when I did my public access TV show for 15 years called Goddess KRING, we literally were not allowed to be commercial. So I sort of trained myself by doing a 28-minute video that was just about art every week for 28 minutes on public access television. It was called Channel 29, then it was Channel 2077, it was Scan TV, Seattle Community Access Network. It started off as Comcat, wait, TCI. I can't even remember the name of it because I did my show from 1996 to 2011 every week for 15 years. And I did a 28-minute show, and we were not allowed to be commercial in any way, shape, or form. So we weren't allowed to try to sell anything or to talk about anybody buying anything. We were only allowed to just present either entertainment or education to the public. And so my job was just to be improvisational, creative human being, Shannon Kringen, trying to connect with you, the community, the public. And so I sort of trained myself. And I think there's part of me that still thinks I'm not supposed to make a living with my art and I'm supposed to do my art for free. And some would say that's bad, but then people say if somebody is a spiritual healer and they charge, then they're a scam artist and they're supposed to do it for free. But then when you're an artist, you're supposed to always get paid. Otherwise, you're getting, taken advantage of by the audience. It's like, wait a minute. So I think I have mixed feelings. I think if an artist wants to do their art mostly for free and just give it away or share it or donate it or try to sell it, but it might not sell, do that. If an artist wants to be professional and only sell their art and never give it away for free because they feel like that's not fair. Like a doctor or a lawyer usually doesn't do their services for free. A doctor and a lawyer always gets paid for what they're doing, and yet an artist may or may not get paid. But then again, there are some doctors and lawyers who do things for charity and they do things, they help people out without it being about the money. So what do you think about this? Like there's pros and cons if you try to make a living. Like what would I do? Like I take photos. I could publish photo books and try to sell those. I could, if I was more of a traditional musician, I could go on tour, but I'm not really a traditional musician. In fact, I'm still not having time to learn to play guitar. I have a left-handed guitar that I want to learn how to play, but I haven't done that. I play a little bit of keyboard. So I'm all over the map with my art and I like the freedom. I guess I'm just used to, I've done it for like 30 years where I model for art and medical people, standardized patient for medical students, and I have a script and I show up and I get paid to do what I do. And it inspires me actually to write poems. And my work that I do in the community with art and medical students helps them and it inspires me to write, poems. And so if I was a full-time artist, I'm not she. So in other words, my art doesn't really fit into a box. I'm not really sure. I don't really do traditional like upscale. Like I've done paintings and collages and photography and I've hung it in non-juried galleries and I've gotten into some juried shows, but I haven't really made money doing that. I've made a little bit of money selling art here and there. But what motivates me is not money. I'm motivated by the pure joy of my creative expression and to share it with people. I love publishing. I guess if I could make a living with my art, my fantasy would be that I could publish books of my art and then travel around the world and go on a book tour and do a documentary film about my life or something, or, somehow combine my painting, photography, poetry, collage, performance art, spoken word, music, singing, all of that. If I could somehow combine all of that into something and then somehow make a living, I don't know what that would look like. So I'm kind of all over the map. So I already make a living in a certain practical way. And so maybe I'll stick with that. I just felt compelled to talk about how some people probably think your art isn't good if you're not making money with it. But it's like, well, I don't think it means that. I think that there are plenty of artists that I don't think are very good. I don't really like their work, and yet they make a living. And then there's plenty of good artists that their work doesn't sell. And then vice versa. There's people that are good or bad that do or don't sell. There's people that are good and bad that do sell. Wait, did I say that right? In other words, I don't have that judgment. I don't assume if somebody is doing their art for free that it's not good. I just think, oh, well, maybe they don't care about money, or maybe they're just not good at the business part. Maybe their art is too weird and nobody likes it. Maybe their art is good, but they just don't know how to market it. Maybe their art does suck. I don't know. There's art that sucks that sells. There's art that's good that sells. There's, you know what I mean? Like whether something is, there's plenty of pop music on the radio that I don't think is very good, and yet it's popular. So, and vice versa. There's a lot of good stuff that maybe isn't popular, and I am not super popular generally. So, that's okay. I'm doing what I love. So, I'm learning that, like, think of Van Gogh, the painter that most people appreciate. In his lifetime, he painted, and I wonder if he had any idea that hundreds of years after his death, people would be appreciating his art and it would be hanging in museums. Um, but then again, a famous musician, a famous artist painting that goes for $20 million, it's completely ridiculous. It makes no sense. Like nothing is worth, a painting is not worth $20 million. That's just because of the business and the fame aspect. It's very like arbitrary and bizarre the way it works. Like somebody could spend 100 hours on a painting and nobody wants to buy it, and somebody could just do something and because they're famous, people want it. So, or vice versa. So, and something can be really high quality and be expensive. So anything is possible. So when I meet an artist, I don't assume. So Van Gogh, did he have any idea? But I'm so glad that he would be so successful later in life after he passed away. I am so glad that Van Gogh painted. So I'm not comparing myself to how great Van Gogh is, but I'm saying, but then again, I think I am a talented, interesting, unique person, and I think I have something to offer people whoever likes my stuff. Hey, I'm doing it for you. Whoever I do my art for me, but I also do it for whoever likes it. So I do it mostly for myself, and I'm trying more to be more genuine and more pure and not get caught up in trying to get external validation, and that you could say, well, why would I present anything to the public unless I wanted external validation? See, that's the thing. When I see Mick Jagger on stage, I love what Mick Jagger does on stage, but I feel like really good musicians that are in bands, they have to really love what they're doing. And if they just do it to hope that the audience I'll go, I hope you like me, I hope you like me, I hope you like me. That kind of energy is not really very attractive. It's a kind of needy, desperate energy that's insecure. If you're up there and you're confident and you're doing what you love and you're giving the audience something. I mean, it's true that not everybody's going to like it. I know there are some people who don't even like Mick Jagger. I love what Mick Jagger does. Some people don't like what he does, and it's like, that's fine. Okay. What I'm saying is, I'm just using him as an example. I've done it myself where I come from a needy place and I want the audience to like me. And then other times I'm doing my thing and it's okay with me if somebody likes it or doesn't like it. But of course, when you're on stage, you want the people to like you, and you actually need to do something that's interesting enough so that you have an audience that will show up. Amanda Palmer has talked about this. I really admire Amanda Palmer, who started following me. Amanda Palmer started following me on Instagram. I'm really thrilled to know this. And I had a small conversation with her. And I shared a picture of me with Jason Webley because I gave Jason Webley my poetry book, Kringonian Pizzazz. And there's a connection between Tori Amos and Amanda Palmer and Neil Gaiman and Jason Webley. It's all connected, although they have a tragic divorce. And Neil Gaiman and Amanda Palmer. I shouldn't talk about that because there's a scandal going on with that. But never mind, I won't talk about that. But what I'm saying is I had an interesting experience of having an exchange with Amanda Palmer, and I don't love Amanda Palmer's music. I appreciate her music, but it's not my favorite aesthetic musically. I like what she does with Jason Webley, and I like her Tasmanian Triangle. What's it called? The Triangle of Tasmania, that song of hers. And I like her ukulele anthem. And I love her book, The Art of Asking, a best-selling book. I really appreciate Amanda Palmer, but she's not my favorite musician. And yet I really appreciate her sort of punk rock, Joan of Arc, trailblazing attitude. And she's a very brave human being and fairly authentic. And I'm trying to like figure out how to be authentic and how to um, Authentic eruption of my soul, molten orange liquid glow, inner energy, life force, come forth. So intimacy chasing me, feel like it's erasing me. Self-abandonment got me stranded again, polluted and uprooted. Catch the wind song, spiral drive, crack the code, left and right notes. So these are things that pop into my head. And so to be authentic as an artist and a musician and a poet and a performer and just that's what I was going to say is that I think some of the best performers they have, and Laurie Anderson, I love Laurie Anderson, and David Byrne, I love David Byrne too. It's like some of the best performers, um, and Tori Amos, it's like they're coming from a strong fire and a passion from within their heart and soul, and they're sharing and they're giving the audience a gift. But if they're too self-conscious and too much trying to get the approval of the audience or win a contest, it just takes the fun out of it, and you can sort of tell. And but who's to say what's really going on between a performer and an audience on stage? So I guess what I'm saying this for is that I'm just trying to stay authentic to myself, and I have no illusions of grandeur, or like I'm not very popular in some ways, and yet I don't want to speak, I don't want to put myself down and say a bunch of negative stuff about myself, but I want to acknowledge the reality. Like I'm a eccentric person in my 50s and in my 20s. Like I wish that after high school I had gone straight. I auditioned and got into Cornish in their acting conservatory. I was in their I didn't get into their real acting conservatory. I auditioned and got into their preliminary I think for the first year you were in their acting program, and then you have to audition again to really seriously get into their serious program. I almost wish that I had pursued acting when I was in my 20s, when I was younger, but whatever. I'm doing what I do now, and I do a lot of modeling for photographers and for painters and drawers and people, I am a professional model for artists who paint and draw, and I have done some professional modeling for photographers, and I have modeled for myself. I think some of my best photos are self-portraits. These four I think are powerful, and I think these are powerful. And I have hung these in galleries before and made collages and there's another self-portrait. I mean, these I think are beautiful images that I took, and my new business card is this, and the camera won't focus, but yeah, whatever, that's fine. Okay, yeah. So this is my improvisational monologue, and I'm just sharing about different thoughts about you do art for free, you do art as a business. If my whole Goddess Kring thing was a business or a brand, like I don't want to be a brand. I want freedom. But then Laurie Anderson said the reason why she's an artist is she wants to stay free. She wants freedom. She wants freedom to express. Well, she makes her full living as multimedia artist. She doesn't like the term multimedia, but I don't have a problem with the term multimedia artist, because if you don't just do music or poetry or visual art, and you do like video and dance and movement and you're on stage, but you also do visual art and you also write words, you are a multimedia artist. Some people just paint, they just take photos, they just write. Like I think of Patti Smith, also love her. I think of her as multimedia. I mean, she writes, she speaks in front of lots of people, she's being interviewed a lot. She's on stage singing songs that she wrote, and she also writes. She wrote a memoir, and she writes poetry, and she writes stories. And on Instagram, I follow her, and she shares photos of her life and like words about her life, and I feel like that's like a haiku, like she writes like a haiku basically. um she's sharing her life with us, and so I feel like she's documenting her life. So I think of Patti Smith as multimedia. I think that I resonate with people who I do visual art and poetry and music and video, and I like the freedom. And if I tried to turn my art into a business officially, I'm not sure what that would look like. I guess I could publish books. Like if I had to pick something, I would say I would like to write stories about my life and poetry and visual art create visual art, whether it's poetry or painting or photography, and publish it into books. I think that I would choose being a publisher of books. So if Shannon Kringen was a business, what would she be? So, in other words, I don't know if I ever have to do that. I don't think there's anything wrong with me making art and giving it away for free or self-publishing it and sharing it with my audience, whoever they are. And so whoever you are, if you're listening, feel free to tell me about yourself. I think some people think that I'm very self-centered in a way that they sometimes people have judged me in a very negative way for being so self-centered. It's like, well, I'm interested in you. Like, tell me, what do you think? What is your passion? What do you love? Feel free to tell me that, or feel free to ask me a question. I guess for some reason people don't always feel like I'm approachable, but I am. Um, Happy to share about how I paint shoes, how I did my art car, what kind of glue do I use. I'm happy to teach people how, although I've tried to teach workshops and I'm not particularly good at teaching. I don't know if I'm good at leading a group in a classroom type setting and teaching, this is how you paint shoes, this is how you make an art car, this is how you do self-portraits. I've dabbled in that, but I'm not particularly good at that. Um, but I like the idea of helping other people. And so when I work with medical students and art students, I feel like I'm serving them and helping them. And it gives me a sense of purpose, like I'm giving to the community and I'm earning a living. I'm earning a fair living. I'm working and being rewarded for it by supporting myself financially. And then I have the freedom to do my art the way I want to do it. But if I had to do my art in a way that was a business and I had to do something that would make people want to buy it, I feel like it would feel less free. Like I wouldn't feel free to just improvise because improvisation is really my art. If I had to say, when I paint, when I take photos, when I write poetry, when I do music and modeling and video and performance art, it's improv. Almost everything I do is improvisational. Like this video, I'm just making up off the top of my head. This face paint I made up. When I paint shoes, I just make it up. On the wall, here, I'll show you. On the wall behind me is a poster I made, artist Shannon Kringen. And so there's shoes I painted, there's a black and white selfie in a fancy triple door bathroom here in Seattle that have beautiful lighting. The top middle one is a painting printmaking that I did where I took a class at Pratt Fine Arts Center here in Seattle, and then I combined that with a black and white photograph self-portrait. This middle one is a self-portrait I took with a waterproof camera that I have in a swimming pool in the Bahamas and opened my eyes underwater. This is a face paint. Gosh, this photo is 20 years old. That's from 2006, the one on the lower right. Painted my face, Goddess KRING style. And those are shoes that I decorated with Sharpie markers. And so that's multimedia right there. I'm not sure how I would, turn that into a business. So I want to maintain freedom and improv. I make things up as I go. I improvise these videos. I improvise when I paint and when I write poetry. And when I art model, I get to make up my own poses. I can, look at art books and they suggest things to me when I model, but generally the model has to make up his or her own poses and wing it basically and open to suggestions, but basically we just make it up as we go and everything about my life seems to be improv. So if I had to like tell you what my philosophy is about my multimedia art, it would be improvisation. It would be And I think it's a very spiritual thing. I think right now there's a war on spirituality and a war on nature. And to me, there's real science and fake science. There's real truth. There's nature and science. And when I say spirituality, I don't mean religion. I mean spirituality. I mean the wisdom of science and nature, the wisdom of spirituality. And I'm interested in the baby, not the bathwater. So the dogma with large corporations that tell us science is a certain way, sponsored by a large corporation making money. That's not real science. That's science that's biased. Same thing with religion, there are some spiritual philosophy that's wise, but then there's religious dogma. So I'm not interested in the dogma with corporate sponsored science. I'm not interested in that dogma. I'm interested in the truth of science. And with religion, I'm not interested in the dogma and the superstition and the guilt and the shame and the fear and the financial corruption of religion. I'm interested in the actual wisdom in religion. And you can be an atheist and still be in touch with wisdom. So I don't believe in God like religious dogma God, but I do believe in the spiritual energy of the universe. I do believe in nature. I do believe in the ecosystem. I do believe in biology, quantum physics. I do. So my spirituality, so also with my philosophy about spirituality, and I'm not an atheist, but I'm also not religious. I am spiritual. I am into nature and biology and science in a spiritual respecting of nature, loving nature, evolving with nature. I think Frankenstein experiments of genetically modifying everything. I'm not a huge fan of that. So there's a little bit of my philosophy as well, which ties in with Hundertwasser, my favorite painter from Austria. Hundertwasser was a philosopher as well as a painter, and he wasn't an architect officially, but he designed the facades of buildings. Hundertwasser, similar to Gaudi, the guy from Spain who does beautiful buildings or did beautiful buildings. So Hundertwasser believed there's no straight lines in nature, although ice crystals do kind of look like they have straight lines, like icicles and ice crystals under a microscope do kind of look like there's geometric straight lines and shapes. I'm also writing a new song called Snakeskin Pattern on the Sidewalk about an experience I had with the fungi experience that I had and in the past, and the snakeskin patterns, what I saw on the sidewalk was, and the carpeting was snakeskin patterns. And I was like, everything looks like a snakeskin pattern that's repeating. So Hundertwasser ties in with that. And I'm writing a new song about that. So when I just start talking, I go off on different tangents. So to wrap this video up, I'll say it is April 9th, 2026. And this is Shannon Kringen, Goddess KRING in Seattle, and I'm excited to share the new video with you. I'm going to go model. I'm going to still trying to clean and organize my apartment. I'm excited about all the art car and events that I'm going to do this summer. I'm excited about making more music videos. I'm excited about doing a documentary film about Goddess KRING, if possible, maybe. And I'm excited about um, um, doing more music with Dave Flowers. We're releasing Cowboy Kring hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks or a month, and more music videos. And I'm in a play the first 2 weekends in May called Shenaniganza. Chris Matthews invited me to be part of that, and I'm going to share a couple Goddess Kring songs and the first 2 weekends of May, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Seattle Center, fourth floor of the Armory building. It's called the Theater of Puget Sound, and again, it's called Shenaniganza. If you're curious, let me know, and I could send you information. Maybe I'll put it below in the description of this video. Please like and subscribe if you like my YouTube channel, and thank you, everybody. And please spread the word about our new video, It Ain't About You, Babe. We're trying to get that on KEXP Radio. You can call up KEXP Radio, or not call. You can text them or email them. Hey, KEXP Radio, play It Ain't About You, Babe by Goddess KRING. Play Goddess KRING music. KEXP. I would love to have them play that. Hollow Earth Radio, thank you so much, has played some Goddess KRING music. Thank you so much. I think 2 different people that have shows there have played our music, and I'm really happy about that. And I've done the open mics at the Rabbit Box here in Seattle and CMP Coffee. I've done open mic. I might try Couth Buzzard open mic sometime, or Hopvine in Capitol Hill in Seattle. I went to Mockingbird Theater in San Diego a few months ago when I was there, and I did some improv there and watched their shows. I love Mockingbird Improv in San Diego, California, where I'm from, where I was born and grew up till I was 9. I think that's all for now. Let's see, the play, I'm in the play, doing open mics in the play. I'm open to opportunities with my music and my poetry, and I want to do more music videos for Goddess KRING. Thank you for listening to my video. Okay, bye for now. Follow your heart and your bliss. Do what you love. Especially because there's horrible things happening in the world. You could say it's rebellious to actually try to enjoy life and do what you love and help others suffering when you can. But if you don't know what to do to help, you can also love your family and your friends and your community. And that's also a way to build up the good in the universe. Okay. Have a good day. Bye for now, everyone. Thank you for watching. Bye.